Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ball Around the Head. We're back about an hour, 30-ish minutes after we just had a live dunk reaction contest. If you're listening to this on our podcast, check it out on our YouTube page, Ball Around the Head. It was pretty fun, and thank you to everyone who watched that. But the AllStar Game is over. Wasn't as great. I mean, that's cutting it short. It was horrible compared to last year. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on it. Ben, what were your thoughts on the 2021 All-Star Game?
Like you said, pretty disappointing, especially since Embiid and Simmons couldn't go. Team Durant losing Embiid after already having Durant being out, obviously, and then having to pick second. It felt like cards were stacked against them. It was not much of a game. Team LeBron won every quarter, and it was a blowout going into the final quarter. So, yeah, pretty disappointing. But a cool stat from Giannis getting that 16 for 16 field goal All-Star Game record. It's a cool stat, even though it was a lot of banked-in threes and a lot of wide-open dunks. Still pretty cool.
It goes in.
True.
Like a dunk is a field goal, so, I mean.
Andrew, what are your thoughts on the 2021 All-Star Game?
I think the players, like, they never really want to play until the third quarter. And I feel like they should add – I think we'll talk about this later, but they should probably add more All-Stars, especially now that there's, like, so many more teams and so many more Fred VanVleet snubs every year. So, yeah. I mean, as far as the gameplay, watching them play, like, it was just really disappointing, especially since last year was so good. But, I mean, it was respect for Kobe last year. What could you do, It was all right.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other answer except for it was very disappointing. It was not a good game. In the first half, you thought, second half, it's going to get closer, it's be better. Second half was the exact same thing. It was a blowout going to the fourth, so there was a little bit more intensity, but Team LeBron was just way better. When you lose Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid on your team, it's going to hurt you, and it definitely did.
And Booker.
Yeah, Devin Booker
Simmons.
as well, that's true. It's just it was not a good watch. We watched the second half together, and none of us really went like, oh, this is so much. It was just pure silence. It wasn't like a good watch. So I'm going to have a follow-up question for you guys is, did you think that it was the right move to go through with this All-Star Game?
Yeah, they raised a lot of money for charity. Like Team LeBron raised $1.2 million for, I forgot the charity's name. So, I mean, and it was in a safe environment. I mean, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid were stopped because they were not cleared. So you would assume everyone who was in there was cleared or went through the proper protocol. If it was me, I would say it was the protocol. But I mean, yeah, I would have went through with it. Adam Silver did a decent job going through with the criticism. Not a decent job choosing All-Star reserves. Like, where's Fred VanVleet? But yeah,
When the coaches,
True.
Yeah, pretty similar. I know we all said it's not a great idea, but they were clearly very safe about it. Embiid and Simmons, unfortunately, they were very safe about that with the contact tracing. And I mean, it was still a fun weekend. There's still like the 3-point contest was very good. Skills contest was interesting. Yeah, I think it's good. Like Andrew said, they raised a lot of money for those foundations. Very good cause.
Yeah. It was an experiment that obviously, like the bubble, a lot of people were very skeptical about. And then when you heard the news this morning about Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, most people thought that some people were skeptical if the game would continue or there was a huge outbreak. But thankfully, due to contract tracing and their protocols that a lot of people are forgetting, they weren't in contact with anybody else. They were just in contact with one another, I guess, or just the barber. So they flew back home, I believe they announced a couple hours ago today, and everybody else was safe. So hopefully everyone could go back to their teams. Everyone's safe and sound, and there was no outbreak. But yeah, like you guys said, the charities, like Team LeBron got a lot of money, but also Team Durant, although they played horrible, they still got a couple. I mean, it's going to help the charity no matter what. So that's still a good cause.
Couple $100,000. No big deal.
It worked. We always doubt Adam Silver, and every time it just turns out working. So,
And by the way, shout out to Robert Covington for giving away funding those students' educations. That was a really nice gesture.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice things that the NBA players and the NBA itself did this weekend. So, as many people are getting mad to fire Silver, he does some things that a lot of people take for granted. He helps out a lot of communities, charities. The NBA is a good thing. They've got good players and a bunch of stuff like that. So, Ben briefly mentioned it earlier, but Giannis was phenomenal today. He finished, I believe, what was it, 16 of 16 from the field? Yeah, good enough for 35 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. And obviously, when you go 16 of 16 from the field and your team wins, you're going to win MVP. So he did the second ever Kobe Bryant MVP award winner. Last year, it was Kawhi Leonard. So, Andrew, did Giannis deserve the AllStar Game MVP?
I mean, Luka played horrible, so no. I guess, yeah, Giannis did deserve it. Team LeBron came out with the win. It was probably between him and Curry, and Giannis, didn't miss a shot. So, yeah, I think it was rightfully named to Giannis, even though I don't really like Giannis.
I mean, yeah, he deserved it. 16 for 16, a new record. There's no way he's not getting MVP. I feel like Chris Paul should almost get the MVP just because I've never seen him dunk before, but nah. Yeah,
you got that lob, yeah, right? It was a lob.
Mm-hmm.
CP3.
Yeah, I think it's obvious. I said in the intro that he went 16 of 16. You're going to win MVP when you do that. Like Andrew mentioned, yes, there were some easy dunks or whatnot, but I mean, there's a reason no one's done that before. So it's a good accomplishment. If he didn't have that great game, I was surprised to read this. I didn't know Damian Lillard had 32 points. I'm not sure when that happened. I know he made a couple of deep threes, but I'm not sure when he got 32. And Curry started off strong, but missed a couple down the stretch, which got him away from it. And just, yeah, it was pretty obvious pick. Not really blah, blah, blah was snubbed. It was Giannis far and away. So congratulations to Giannis. So Andrew brought this up a couple, 30 minutes ago or whatnot, and Twitter's been arguing about this too. And we briefly mentioned about the All-Star Game. It wasn't that good this year. And the All-Star Game has been a problem of the past, kind of just a game that no one really cares about. Some people have argued about the skills contest. It's not really that good. And then a lot of people are not happy about the dunk contest, saying, I don't remember who tweeted this, but the dunk contest went from 360s to blowing kisses. So some people are not liking the All-Star Weekend now. So I'm going to ask you, Ben, if you had to make a change to the All-Star Weekend, what would you do?
If I had to pick one, this is a little specific, but I'm going to say I am tired of the scoring system for the dunks, the judges. I'm tired of 6 through 10. You get an 8 if the ball goes through the basket. And it's 50, 50, 50. We got to go to another round, which didn't happen this time because the dunks were not that great, honestly. But my suggestion is just have the score be up to 50 for each judge and then average them. So you don't have to choose between 6 through 10. Just have them. If you thought it was like a 9.5, just put 47 and then you average all the scores that way. I think that'd be a lot more fair. It'd be a lot more interesting. So you don't have a great dunk that gets a 50 and then the next dunk is way better, but all you can get is a 50.
Okay.
I would do something like, I think that's a good system, but it might be simpler if they just have all 3 or 4 of them dunk in a row, and kind of what they did with the final, they just pick one from that group or pick 2 from that group, and then they tally up, if Zion next year hopefully goes in the dunk competition, then Zion dunks, and then LeBron dunks, and then John Morant dunks, and then Carmelo Anthony gets in there. Why not? And they'll vote for Zion and LeBron for a couple of them. I think, you know what I mean? The tally system. Be kind of fun.
That's true. The final round was better, just having them pick a winner.
Yeah, I like the suspense. It was really good instead of 50. And like Ben said, the biggest example was Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine last year. One could argue they're both 50s, but one was a better 50 than the other. So I'd love that change. So
it
Andrew,
was
that's
Aaron Gordon. By the way, it was Aaron Gordon and the flight mode, not last year, not Zach LaVine. Derek Jones Jr.
Oh, it's that Derek Jones Jr. Yeah, you're right. My bad. But Andrew, that's the change you want to make to All-Star Weekend? The dunk contest?
No, I was thinking more drafting teams. Like I don't know what video I was watching, but like when the NBA first introduced the All-Star Weekend, there was like 12 teams in the league. There was 100 players in the league, and 20 of them were All-Stars. And then they introduced more players, so to when there was 21 teams in the league and there was 24 players introduced. Now there's 30 teams in the league and there's still only 24 players in total. So I feel like just adding slots to the All-Star game would make it a lot more interesting, and people wouldn't be as mad if there was snubs. Like if there was just 3 more slots on each team, which I felt like there was 3 more slots for Team Durant, because Conley, Booker, and Sabonis, like they shouldn't even have been. Okay, maybe Mike Conley was a stretch, but Sabonis and Booker definitely shouldn't have been like late add-ons. Yeah. So maybe adding a couple slots next year would be interesting. I mean, Fred VanVleet, really? Like I'm going to mention this until I die. He should have been an All-Star in 2021.
There's been people who are saying that regular NBA games, you have 13 active players, but in the All-Star game, you have 12 active players. So, I mean, maybe at least move it at least one. But, I mean, one could argue you could have 15 because normally a roster has 15. But then again, it'd be kind of hard to play 15 players. I don't know. But I agree. They do need to make it the roster's bigger because, like you said, Sabonis shouldn't have to be a replacement. Booker shouldn't have had to been a replacement. Like, that's just not how it – and yes, it goes down as an all-star appearance and whatnot, but is it though? A lot of people are going to remember it as, oh, Booker was a replacement because AD was injured. Because if AD was never injured, Booker would have never been an all-star. It's just simple as that.
Even last year, technically, he's a 2-time replacement all-star.
So, yeah, I agree with that. I believe they should add more. My thing, do something about the all-star game itself. Last year, the Kobe Bryant experience was very good. It was a very good game. But this year, it was just a complete blowout. And it just wasn't a fun game to watch. And I'm not saying go back to the regular All-Star game format because that was even worse. It was just pure lollygagging. And then maybe within the final 2 minutes, they like, oh, you know what? Let's try a little bit. I'm not sure the exact thing to change to that because I did like the idea of what they did last year, but this year it just didn't work and it wasn't fun. But have something. Maybe make the teams East versus West again because the East is a lot better this year than the reason why they switched from East to West when it was just the East was horrible, like a good team and a bunch of bad players, and then the West was stacked and the West always won. Maybe now that the East and West are kind of similar on the talent base, you got Giannis, LeBron, Kawhi, then who am I blanking? Joel Embiid. You got like those stars on each conference. So just something. 'Cause I didn't have fun watching the All-Star game today, and I thought I'd have a little bit of fun, and it just wasn't. And it's supposed to be a time where you celebrate all the best players in the game, and today really didn't feel like that. It just felt like a scrimmage game, and it wasn't really that fun. So,
what's up, man?
One thing I want to see is actually I really like the for the celebrity game when they have like the NBA personalities like Chuck versus Shaq, they draft a team. I would like to see them draft teams for that real All-Star game. I think that'd be fun to do one year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Just change something because, I mean, you'll never know until you try it. And the All-Star game really doesn't mean anything every year. Like I said, for the majority of the All-Star game existence, it was just pure scrimmage back and forth, nothing crazy. But, yeah, the NBA is probably going to change the skills challenge, the three-point contest, whatever, every single year. Like the three-point contest that they added that three-point shot, the Mountain Dew shot.
That last year. That was last year.
I know, but I'm just saying every year they change something else. So who knows? Maybe – who knows? So that's
skills competition. Up 2, back 3. Or no, up 3, back 2. 2 balls between the legs.
They changed that too.
Why are they just dribbling around cones at like 2 miles an hour? I don't know.
I mean, just kind of related, but not really. I loved Kenny Smith, how upset he was that the big men won the skills contest. He was so disappointed in the guards or whatnot, and he thought it was a joke. I thought that was very funny. So that's enough All-Star Weekend talk. You won't hear us talk about that for like another year, so whatever. But there's been some big NBA news. Blake Griffin, he is now a member, not officially, but reportedly, of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, he was bought out from the Pistons 2 days ago, and I think he gave up $13 million to leave, which kind of shows he didn't want to be there. And in my opinion, I feel like a lot of people are overrating this signing. Like, a lot. Woj reported say that they're thinking of using him as a backup center, so they don't even want to start him. So, Andrew, what are your thoughts on Blake Griffin to the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, I'm really excited to see DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin play together again. Unfortunately, Chris Paul is not there, but Kyrie Irving is like a better version of Chris Paul. Like, I'll say it. I'll flat out say it. Kyrie Irving is a better point guard than Chris Paul, historically, I would argue.
Okay.
And I'm excited to see Lob City to like what I want to say 1.5 because Blake Griffin is kind of old. So it's not like it's going to be exciting, but I'm really disappointed that the Lakers didn't get him. Honestly.
Fun stat to add on to that: Blake Griffin has 0 dunks this year. 0.
Wait, how he hasn't really played at all?
He's played like 20 games and he's had 0 dunks, which is an insane stat to me. So,
yeah, sure. Well, I bet he doesn't have a point guard out in Detroit, but pretty upset about the Lakers. I mean, how disrespectful would it have been that the Lakers signed Blake Griffin and win a championship right across the hall from the Clippers? Like, missed opportunity.
I mean, he's going to be free agent after the end of the year. You never know. If it doesn't work out in Brooklyn, you never know. Ben, what do you think about it?
I definitely think this is a very good signing for the Nets. I do agree, Daniel, that a lot of people are overreacting. I heard during the All-Star Game, Reggie Miller calling it a four-headed monster, and he's really just not. He's not going to be at the caliber of Brooklyn's big three. It's not going to be like that. But they did need some depth in the front court. They'll get some. They needed more size, basically, and they'll get some scoring out of their front court, which they need as well. So I think it's a great move. Makes them a little bit scarier.
I'm going to look at it both ways. First, in the negative way, his knees look like his last knee injury looked like it really messed him up. Before, when he first got there to Detroit, he was all NBA. He was playing great basketball, career numbers all around. Then he had that knee injury, and then he was never the same player. He came back last year. He had to leave again because he had another injury. Then he came back this year, and he is averaging his career worst in points per game. He's just not the same again. I have to repeat it because it's amazing to me. He has 0 dunks this year, and this dude dunked over a car, which is arguably
he dunked over the. Oh my god, he did not dunk over a car. He dunked over the front of a car. But okay, still impressive.
It's still a car technically, but
yeah.
Blake Griffin, like it doesn't seem like he's still there. But on the alternate, I've seen some people argue this. He, like Andrew kind of mentioned, he was on the Pistons, and the Pistons have a horrible team right now. And he's not getting passes from Kyrie Irving. He's not getting open looks because defenses are focusing on Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant. So he's going to get his looks. And is it a fluke in Detroit? Maybe. But I don't think, like Ben said, you see from Bleacher Report, ESPN, all these big outlets are like, oh my gosh, the Nets are just a pure super team now. Okay, the big three is very good. But Blake Griffin does not make it a big four. He can be good, but he's not going to put up 20 points per game. He's not that Blake Griffin anymore. He doesn't dunk over people. He's just a spot-up shooter most of the time now, and I don't think that's – I'd like to argue with Ben. I don't think that's what the Nets need. I think they need more defense, and that's not really – if they're using him as the backup center, that's kind of bad. That's not really – like that's kind of the worst options out there, and he's not a center. He's going to get destroyed on the defensive end, destroyed. He has no chance. So I don't know. It's an interesting experiment. A lot of us were skeptical about the James Harden experiment, and that's worked out extremely well. So who knows? Maybe they can find some lost gold in Blake Griffin. But I have seen a lot of Laker fans not very happy, not like Andrew, that are pretty upset that Blake Griffin didn't join them. And Ben, do you feel the same way?
About what? Sorry?
about Blake Griffin not joining the Lakers. Like, are you upset?
I'm not broken up over it. It would have been nice. It would have been nice, but I believe we've got a great team when we're healthy.
I would
I guess he
argue that
wouldn't even
the
have a
Lakers,
number.
I would
He
argue that
wouldn't.
the Lakers
Oh yeah,
needed
you
him
agree.
more.
You would argue what?
That the Lakers needed him more than the Nets do.
Yeah.
So
But no, the Lakers though, they need somebody like if they were going to get Blake Griffin, the Lakers need an actual piece on their team. I don't know who yet though. I just don't know. Maybe Kristaps Porzingis. I saw that he unfollowed the Mavs Instagram the other day, and Lakers fans are going like, "Whoa, this is new." He probably misclicked it on accident, like unfollow, and everyone's overreacting. But I don't know. It'd be cool.
that's the world we live in. People stalk their followings every single day. And then when you follow, let's say like LeBron followed the Celtics, and all of a sudden the news outlets would be like, oh my gosh, LeBron followed the Celtics. And then it would be the top story on Sports Center. That's just the society we live in now. It's all social media. But he's been thrown around in trade rumors. It'd be interesting if the Mavericks already gave up on him. We'll have some trade discussions coming up soon because the trade deadline's coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. So a day, I think, or 2 days after we had our last podcast, there was another coach's firing. The Hawks fired Lloyd Pierce from their head coaching job and named Nate McMillan their interim head coach, who, those who don't know, he was literally the head coach of the Pacers as recently as last year. And he led them to the playoffs, but they got swept in the first round. So the 2 or 3 games since they got fired, though, the Hawks have won. So I don't know if you could read much into that. They beat some pretty not the best teams. So Andrew, what are your thoughts on the Hawks firing Lloyd Pierce?
I wish they fired Trae Young instead. I'm gonna be honest, but I don't really care enough. Like I don't even know coaches. I always say like I don't look at coaches. So I mean, coaches are overrated in my opinion. Like the players, whatever players you have on your team is your team. The coach is only going to do so much. It's more about inspiring these players. Can a coach inspire these young players to, be their best selves? As you can see with the Chicago Bulls coach who would do push-ups with them. I don't even remember his name. Like nobody respected him. So,
well, that's an argument for why they're important, though. You don't need someone like that.
Yeah, you don't want to have somebody do push-ups and get out pushed up by Zach LaVine, who shouldn't be an all-star. That's right, I said it. Can't shoot threes in a three-point competition. I'm just going ham today. I'm getting everybody.
Just dissing everybody. I don't think it was a move they needed to do. They didn't really give him that much of a chance this year. It's their first year that they did have higher expectations, but then again, Bogdanovich has barely played. He not really giving them a chance. But I do think Nate McMillan, he has a very good resume with the Pacers. If they end up going with him indefinitely as the permanent position, that'll be fine as well. It's just how it goes in the NBA. Teams in a rebuild, as soon as you get the slightest hint of expectations, everyone expects you to just flip a switch and everything will be good. I mean, we all had the Hawks a lot higher than they've been thus far, but it takes time most of the time.
Yeah. This was a guy hired him a couple of years ago. I actually thought he'd be a very great coach. And a couple of years ago when the Hawks were horrible, he won some pretty impressive games against some of the best teams. And this year, I'm not sure why they fired him. Like Ben said, they've had a lot of injuries. Like Bojan Bogdanovic has played like 2 weeks, then he's out. Chris Dunn, I think, has yet to play a game for them. Danilo Gallinari missed a couple of weeks with an injury. DeAndre Hunter is having a career year, and he's been out for quite a while. So injuries have played a huge Rondo. He's played like 3 or 4 games, and he's been out for a long time. So injuries, he never got a full roster. And they fired him, and he's done a lot for the Atlanta community. I want to shout that out. He's done a lot for that community. So I believe he's going to continue to do so. So he's a great guy off the court. I thought he'd be a great coach when he first got hired, but I guess the Hawks don't think the same. There's some rumors he might go back to college because some college coaches might hire him. I mean, people should. I think he's a pretty good coach. But yeah, I was kind of shocked when I saw that. but like you said, Nate McMillan is going to be a very good coach. I think he's going to lead them at least to a play-in. That's just my opinion. So,
I mean, they're at 11.
yeah, they're right there.
Hard in the East.
So last but not least, the second half of the season will start on Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. So why don't we give you guys some second half predictions? Ben, what is your second half prediction? Or Z, if you have multiple.
I am going to say that Steph Curry will lead the Warriors to at least the sixth seed, and he will come away as the MVP favorite by the end of the season. Right now, I think it's Embiid, but I think by the end of the season, I'm predicting Steph Curry as the MVP.
Okay.
The MVP?
Yep.
Wow, that's really okay. That's a good hot
I'm
take
saying
right
not.
there.
I'm saying based on the first half, I would pick Embiid, but I'm predicting that Curry will take it up a notch.
Cool. My predictions I'll do one for the West and one for the East. My predictions for the West are that the Spurs will fall out of the playoffs, and the Warriors and the Mavs will get the 7 and 8 seed. So it'll be Jazz, Suns, Lakers, Clippers, Blazers, Nuggets, Warriors, and then the Mavs as the 8th seed. And they'll barely get in. I just don't see the Spurs, like, they kind of had a hot start and they're dying down. DeMar DeRozan's mental is probably really upset he wasn't chosen as an All-Star. So, but maybe he'll fight and show us. We're going to show the NBA coaches why they should have chosen him as an All-Star. Show Adam Silver why they should have chosen him as an All-Star and not Mike Conley. Although I do understand why they chose Mike Conley, most likely due to, contact tracing. It was probably a lot easier to get a Jazz member than an entire member from a different team. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting choice. And then for the East, I predict that the Hornets will win the first round in the playoffs. And that's kind of a jump, but I think they'll win the first round of the playoffs.
Not just the play-in, the first round?
Oh, yeah, the first round.
So you think they can beat one of the Sixers, Nets, Bucks, Celtics, and probably Heat?
I think the Celtics will get to the top 3 seed, and then they'll play the Celtics and then beat them.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Dude, LaMelo Ball he's the new Melo, first off. Kind of Carmelo Anthony and Melo moment.
I got to take full responsibility. If you guys watch the draft stream, I said LaMelo Ball would be a bust. I will apologize. I was so wrong on that. This dude is legit. Anthony, I don't know if you're watching or listening to this. I know you'll be happy that I'm apologizing, but LaMelo Ball is a legit NBA player. He's very good. So I was way wrong on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Hornets will shock everybody, especially if they play at home.
Okay. So I'm gonna do one from each conference as well. For the West, I'm gonna have the Clippers. I have a feeling they're gonna finish the regular season in the 4th seed. And if we want to go all the way far, I think they're gonna win the first round, and then they'll play the Utah in the second round, and they'll beat Utah in the second round, and they'll make their first ever conference finals appearance. We'll probably have bold predictions at the end.
Not their first ever. Didn't they go to the conference finals with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin?
No.
First,
they blew a 3-1 lead probably.
They blew 2 3-1 leads in the past 7 years or something like that to make the conference finals. That's insane. And then for the East, I have the Boston Celtics making the 3rd seed. Just a couple weeks ago, they were horrible and they were under 500 in the 10th seed. Now they're the 4th seed and like 3 games out of the 3rd seed. So I think they're going to strive. They're going to make a trade at the trade deadline to make themselves better. I'm confident on that. And I think they're going to ride some momentum. I'm not sure if they're going to make the conference finals again, but I think the Celtics are going to be a lot better than they started off out. So those are my 2 predictions for the second half of the season. Do you guys have any other ones?
Denny Otvia I just want to shout him out real quick. He's number 9 on the Wizards. Good player.
All right. All right. So thank you guys for your support on our Dunk stream and also our podcast or stream if you're watching it right now or if you're listening to it. Thank you guys so much. We are almost close to 1,000 listens total. And when we hit that, or when we're around it, we'll give you guys the surprise of what our special stream is going to be. Wait for that. We'll let you know. But thank you guys for your support. Please like and subscribe to this channel. And yeah, that's all I got. Peace out. See you guys next Sunday at 8 p.m. Same time. We'll be here. Peace.
Lakers back to back, man.